quarterback, Dan Marino of Pittsburgh.
Touchdown Miami. That is a new Miami record. 23 touchdown passes.
Rebound Wade. The Miami Heat. They've done it. They win their first championship in franchise history. A liner on Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
You want to talk sports? You logged on to the right place. The John Ech Show on 247miami.tv.
To be on Mondays, but now that football season has started, and it has started, we're going to be broadcasting live every Sunday right here, Jada Coles Bar, 2845 Coral Way. A lot of things to get into, guys. Troy Hall's in the house, so is Johnny Pallett. On tonight's games, we got some baseball. We got the Pirates at the Cardinals. Cole is on the mound for the Pirates. He's 15-8 with a 2.64 ERA versus Lackey, who's 11-8 with a 2.87 ERA. That's at 8 o'clock. ESPN, live on ESPN at 8 o'clock. The St. Louis Cardinals are up 6.5 games up on the Pittsburgh Pirates and 9.5 games up on the Chicago Cubbies. So this is an important series here for the Cardinals and also for the Pirates. We got some U.S. Open tennis going on, and it started already. We got Djokovic, the number one tennis player in the world, against Bautista from Spain. He's ranked number 23rd. And on the first set, Djokovic is up 4-3 in the first set. And that's on ESPN2. Those who love the game of tennis, the U.S. Open on ESPN2, Djokovic versus Bautista. Since we're talking about tennis, we got, I can't wait for this one on Tuesday. On the women's side, we got Serena versus Venus again. And that's going to be at 10 o'clock on ESPN. Serena versus Venus Williams. We all know both sisters. The number one ranked player in the world, Serena Williams, is going for the career Grand Slam. So I'm rooting for her. I want her. I want to see history. I'm all about history. And, I was thinking about this, guys, earlier. This year has been tremendous in sports. We got the U.S. women in soccer. They win the World Cup. In golf, Spieth and Jason Day ripping it up. What else we got? What else happened this year that we could say, wow, this is history? Serena, if she could complete the career Grand Slam. Anything else comes to mind, guys? That we could say, wow, this is what a great year in sports. I guess the Cubbies, finally they're playing good baseball.
They're
in that wild card.
20 games over 500.
Yeah, they will be in any other division in the National League, John. They will be in first place.
Yeah, I mean you got to credit Joe Madden. I mean what a pickup from Tampa Bay. I don't know why they let him go, but the Cubs were the
laughing stock,
the first suitors for him, and they knew he was something special.
Right. The Marlins win tonight, or they won this afternoon, 43 over Louis Chacon's Mets, and they win the series after coming home from not coming home. They were in Atlanta. They swept the miserable Atlanta Braves. Did they win today, John? Check if the Braves won today, because if they did, that's 11 in a row. And part of it, we were talking during the game yesterday, during the Miami game. We were at the Canes game yesterday, saying how Freddie Gonzalez got to be in the hot seat, man. They lost 10 in a row, and if they did win today, or if they lost today, that'll be 11 in a row for the miserable Braves. But the Marlins win with a Martin Prado game-winning line drive that brought in the winning run. So I guess you can say the Marlins are red hot. Round of applause for the Marlins. They're red hot. Like I said, they swept the Braves, and now they win the series. There you go. Round of applause for the Marlins. They beat the Mets, who are in first place, and they got a serious series coming up against the Nationals. Starting tomorrow, it's a three-game series. The Mets and the Nationals starting tomorrow. I think Nisi's on the mound for the Mets. So LC, I think you're starting to worry a little bit. You're sweating, and we'll get to LC later, and we'll get his opinion.
Braves did lose again,
so that's 11 in a row for the Braves. Jeez, when we saying that Freddie Gonzalez should be on the hot seat, he's on the hot seat.
I think he's about ready to get off the hot seat and might not finish the season.
Yeah. So starting tomorrow, the Brewers come to town for 3 games, and the Nationals come to town for another 3 games here in Miami.
they've got to get better offensively. Defensively, I thought they were superb.
Defense.
That's the best performance I've seen. I think Bethune-Cookman only had 73 yards total offense. So the defense was superb, and but I think that the offense, you've got to do better than average 10 yards of pass play to beat the top teams and to score points. I mean, we talked about that, and the Canes I think were 62nd in points scored last year, and under Golden's tenure, I think the best they've done is 49th. So that's not going to cut it in this day of offensive football. And I mean, you got to be more aggressive. I think that's the bottom line. Is they're just you can't blame it on a freshman quarterback. He knows the offense.
Yeah.
And just let her rip, as Luther Campbell would say. Turn them loose.
Turn them loose. Now, I was kind of upset that the halftime was cut short because I did really wanted to see the Bethune-Cookman band play. They only got to play one song, and what a tremendous band! It was incredible. Even when they were even when they were just sitting in the stands when they would play, it was so loud, man.
Yeah.
They were loud in the music that the actual stadium was playing. That's how loud the Bethune-Cookman band was.
We had to check with the crack staff to see how many members are in that band, but I would have to say you got 300. And the Canes,
they're like 30.
The Canes, it's like their basketball, the basketball band in the
you could barely hear them when they were playing
in the Bank United Center.
It was unbelievable. You catch any of the highlights, Troy, of the Hurricanes?
No, I haven't seen a single play or any highlights. Nothing about it.
So ESPN, hey Lacey. So ESPN3 is you have to go on the computer to watch the games on ESPN3. Is that right?
Yep.
Now, do you have to subscribe to that? Because me and Pal were asking, like,
it depends. If you have a certain cable company,
right,
then you'll get it for free. You just sign up that way. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have that, if you don't have a cable package through, Comcast Xfinity or something like that, you can't get it.
Really? See that? We were thinking about jetting out of there and trying to catch it on the computer, but luckily we stayed. Right?
Yeah, luckily we lucked out.
Yeah, we saw a lot of celebrities out there. We saw Jason Jackson, the guy who works for the Heat. We saw Stevie Edwards, who played for the Hurricanes back when late 90s. We saw Diana Diaz from Channel 7 News. Yeah, she was out there taking selfies with everybody.
And I think I saw Rick Ross.
Ricky Rose. I think I wanted to see him, but you said you.
Well, if it wasn't him, it was a heck of an imposter. But exactly. I think I saw him.
Yeah. Troy, short week for the Canes. They're back on the field on Friday against FAU up in Boca. I had the spread here. I think the Canes are. What did I do with the spread? What did I do? Oh, I got 17.5 favorite over FAU up in Boca. Man, what's your opinion on the Canes going up against FAU?
Well, I think my original, I guess, opinion was going to be that it was going to be a real tight game. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen the game yet or anything like that, so I'm still unsure of it. But I guess if I had to go one way or another based on results and whatnot, I'd take Miami to blow them out.
Miami to blow them out?
Yep. 17.5. I think so. I don't think offensively you would show – I don't think you'd show your hand against Bethune-Cookman. I'm sure they probably have a lot of things that they didn't run at all. Yeah. I also heard didn't they shorten the last two quarters in that game by 5 minutes?
They did.
I mean, that game could have been easily 60-0. Yeah. I'm sure, but so they didn't get to run as many plays as they probably wanted, which is all right because they have a short week playing Friday.
Yep, they got a short week on Friday. The season started on Thursday, guys. We had South Carolina. They beat UNC 17-13. Utah beat Michigan 24-17. TCU beats Minnesota 23-17. And the upset, one of the upsets of the week, was FIU over UCF. Huge upset. And we were last week. We were sort of trashing FIU football, but we apologize if FIU fans are listening. We deeply apologize.
We got to eat crow on that one
because FIU upset UCF And that game was in Orlando too. It was at UCF. So congratulations to the FIU. Was it Golden Panthers?
Golden Panthers.
The Golden Panthers of FIU. Troy, we got tomorrow. We got a big game. We got Ohio State. They're favored by 14 versus Virginia Tech up in Blacksburg. I know it's kind of early to start giving predictions because we're going to get to your picks during our third segment. You went 3-3 this week. Not bad. What's your opinion on tomorrow's game? Ohio State minus 14 versus Virginia Tech in Blacksburg.
Well, they still haven't named a starting quarterback at Ohio State. I think it's going to be J.T. Barrett myself, but I think it's going to be a very interesting game to watch because I know from experience going to Lane Stadium at night is not an easy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Virginia Tech's got two good cornerbacks. Ohio State, they lost Evan Smith, the wide receiver that usually was their deep threat. I'm sure they have somebody to replace him, but Ohio State's going to look to control the line of scrimmage, and their offensive line just destroyed everybody the last 4 games they played last season. So they're gonna have to win that battle in the trenches, and that's just not something that's easy to do at Virginia Tech at night. And obviously they weren't able to do it last year, the first game of the season. So I would take the points in Virginia Tech. The game very well could end up being 56-7, Ohio State, but I think you got to take the points at this when you're on the road like that. There's too many unknowns to be laying that kind of coin against a team that could be pretty quality on defense like Virginia Tech. They're going to have to improve on offense, but defensively they should be legit.
Speaking of taking the points, look at Northwestern. They were getting 10 at home, and they upset Stanford up in Evanston, Illinois. So take the points, man. Pal, what do you think about Ohio State tomorrow? It's 8 o'clock start. It's on Channel 10, I believe, versus Virginia Tech.
I think Ohio State's going to just
demolish them.
Demolish them. I don't think Beamer's been that good the last couple of seasons. I mean, a lot of 7-5, 8-4 seasons, and they just don't look as sharp. I don't think the recruiting is once what it was, and maybe a little bit of what you saw with Bobby Bowden there towards the end. I don't know how much coaching Beamer's doing there, and it just looks like they're just not as sharp as they once were, and so I think Ohio State's just gonna. That was their only loss in 2014. I think they're going to come in there and just tear them apart.
All right. The upsets were BYU versus Nebraska, Northwestern over Stanford, obviously the FIU over UCF. I could be missing would you call the Texas A&M an upset over Arizona State, Troy?
No, they were
finer.
They were favored. A lot of people have Arizona State as their upset pick to win the Pac-12. I did not agree with that. I did like Texas A&M in this game.
Yeah,
it's not an easy place to go play. I think a lot of people like that upset because Texas A&M was pretty bad on defense last year, and John Chavis looks like he fixed quite a bit after game 1. I do think Arizona State's still going to be a good offensive football team, and they beat them pretty handedly. The game was never in question, and so that's a big win out of conference for Texas A&M. They could very well compete for the championship in the SEC this year.
They beat Arizona State 38-17 up in Arizona.
The Temple game, I think, was the other big upset.
Yes, exactly. The other big upset was the Temple over Penn State.
Yeah, first time since 1941.
Wow, but didn't I tell you why is that? Why was that line so small? Right? Was it -6 Penn State? And
7.
I texted you that, didn't I?
7 points. Temple. I loved that game.
You did.
We're in Flanagan's when you picked the Northwestern game, and I love Temple. Temple returns 19 starters this year.
Wow.
Penn State, as you know, is on sanctions, and they had to go through a bit of what Miami had to go through numbers-wise. They have no depth. Coach has only been there. This is his second year. They have a great NFL quality quarterback. He may be the first guy off the board in the draft coming up, but Christian Hackenberg, and he obviously didn't get it done. Temple got. I think they went down 7-0 early, and after that, they just bullied Penn State.
Yeah.
Bullied them.
Yeah.
And I think they said that's the first time Temple's beat Penn State since World War II.
Jeez. Pal, I forgot to get to you about FAU Miami on Friday. What's your opinion?
I think FAU is going to give them a
Tough game?
A tough game. I mean, FAU scored 44 points against Tulsa, so obviously they're hitting on all cylinders on offense. I think they'll probably give them a tough game for a half, and then Miami's talent should win out. But I think Miami's got to get better on offense, and I don't know. I just I mean, I love Mark Walton, and I think he's going to be a special player. He averaged 8.5 yards a carry last night. So I think Miami, I mean, there's no way they should lose that game. But I think FAU is got a good program with Partridge, and I think they're gonna play him tough probably for a half, and then Miami should be able to cover the 17.
But the true test is in 2 weeks when Nebraska comes down here to Sun Life Stadium. All right, if you're looking for a good place to get a drink after work or a place to watch the games, play pool, poker, or a place just to hang out, I got a place for you. It's Jada Coles Bar in Miami, 2845 Coral Way. They have happy hour every single day from 4 to 8. On Mondays, they got a poker night. In the biz night, also, that's 50% off anybody who's in the hospitality business, nurses, teachers, even law enforcement officers. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, they got live music. On Wednesdays, open mic by Somatics. Bring your instrument and play right here on this stage that we're on, broadcasting. And on Friday, they have a live DJ spinning the best of indie rock. On Saturday, they got karaoke night. And on Sunday is ladies' night. All ladies, $5. Anything at the bar is $5. Also starting tonight, something new. It's called Trivia Night, and that's at 9 o'clock with Lacey Brooks. She's one of the bartenders here at Jada Coles. And if you win the trivia game, you get $30 off your bar tab. So come by, 2845 Coral Way. Say hi to Terry, Scott, and Gus, and Lacey, Brittany, Shelby. They're all here, and they're here to serve you drinks and whatever you need here at Jada Coles Bar. That's 2845 Coral Way. They're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right, when we come back, we're going to continue talking college football. We're going to get to the big games, the Notre Dame game, the Alabama game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is the John Ech Show on 247miami.tv. Keep it locked. Don't you dare move. on their second set, and he's up 3-2 over Bautista from Spain, the U.S. Open, live on ESPN. We have an 8 o'clock game, Major League Baseball, the Pirates at the St. Louis Cardinals, who have a 6.5 game advantage over them. So I'm excited. Baseball season is winding down, last month of the season. And then we got the playoffs, we got the wild card games, and then we got the playoffs, and then the World Series, and then we could get in full mode, football mode, right, Troy? After the baseball season's over, we can just concentrate on football.
I'm already concentrated on football. Baseball doesn't matter.
He's on football mode already. Me and Pat are still 50-50, right, Pat? We're on baseball half and then football the other half.
Right. 50-50.
Although I like the Cardinals tonight.
Oh, he likes the Cardinals tonight. It's a freebie. That's a freebie. Those who are listening, he likes the Cardinals.
Did they already go off?
8 o'clock.
Yeah, it's already off.
Yeah, already off. All right, let's see here. Notre Dame over Texas, 38-3. That was one of your picks out, Troy. You loved Texas getting the points.
Love Texas. That's an embarrassing pick right there. I was shocked at how horrible Texas is. Yet again, offensively, you have a whole summer and an off season to find some way to score points, and you trot out there and you throw for 103 yards, and I don't even know if they rushed for 50. I mean, that was just a freaking disgrace. Charlie Strong should be ashamed of himself. He does that the rest of the season. I'll be lucky if he sees year 3.
He had his face at the end of the game when he was walking, to shake hands with Kelly. He was like, whoa. He was not happy, man. Just 3 points.
I mean, Brian Kelly's an awesome coach. Notre Dame, obviously, is flying on all cylinders. The one thing that kills Notre Dame is they lost their run back. Folston's done.
Yeah.
That could be devastating. I'm sure they've got guys behind them that can step up, but that can't be good when you lose your best running back.
What do you think of Zaire?
Extremely impressive.
Yeah.
Confident. Had a good handle on the offense. Again, shocking that they were able to move the ball. I know Texas had to replace a lot of guys on defense, but they got to have guys there. It's Texas. I just don't understand a Charlie Strong defense that's giving up 38 points and, he can't even score a touchdown in a game. I don't care who the heck they're playing. That was just a pathetic performance and a pathetic pick.
Zaire threw for 3 touchdowns, 313 yards with the victory over Texas, 38-3. I didn't see the game, but I did see the highlights, and the highlights were just incredible, man. The guy's got a good arm, man. He's a lefty. Every pass that he made was on the money, man.
Legit. I mean, they're a Final Four contender after that game right away. I mean, their schedule's brutal, but
yeah.
If you're beating a team like that, I don't care. It's still Texas, and you beat them 38-3. Yeah. We'll see what happens with Texas the rest of the way, though. But it remains to be seen. Maybe they're absolutely horrendous all year, but maybe they're 8-4 team.
Yeah.
And then you just absolutely housed them. And it's not like they have a new quarterback. The guy was there last year. He stunk last year. He stinks again.
I heard an interview with Brian Kelly, and they asked him what is it going to take for Notre Dame to be the top 4 teams in the country, and he said no injuries. And they're starting the season with a big injury here with Folston. But you're saying they might have some guys that can step it up. They're going to have to.
Yeah. Well, the quarterback can't get injured.
Yeah.
And the defense has to stay healthy. Running backs usually, you see it in the NFL. Running backs go down all the time.
Yeah.
They're just plug-and-play guys. Notre Dame, darn well they've got 3 or 4 guys who can run the ball. Like Miami lost Gus Edwards. Well, if you're going to lose a starter, running back's not the worst spot to lose.
Right.
You see a true freshman, Mark Walton, comes in and runs real well.
Yeah.
So, obviously it didn't hurt Notre Dame too much after he got hurt.
Yeah.
They still played pretty well. But, man, they were impressive. I think most impressive team of the weekend.
Really, Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Wow. Alabama, I saw the second half of that game when we got home last night from the Hurricane game, and they beat Wisconsin 35-17. And this guy, Derrick Henry, the running back, unfreaking believable. 3 touchdowns, 147 yards. Is this guy? Did we consider him as a Heisman candidate? When we
didn't name him, but he has to be. I mean,
unbelievable.
He's huge. He's like a defensive end who's playing running back, and he's been that big since he was a true freshman. You know, they had a heck of a 1-2 punch with T.J. Yeldon and Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
but they have the defense this year too to go along with it. The quarterback position still is iffy at best, but they're just going to ride the run game. I mean, for at least the first half of the season, they'll ease this quarterback in.
They asked Saban at the end of the game, quarterback, who's it going to be, Coker or Bateman? And he didn't want to say anything. But I think Coker's the man.
Yeah, I think Coker's the man. But I think we did mention Henry in the Heisman.
In a preview show?
I think we did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was in that. I did find a list, and I think he was on the list. So, he was a monster. He reminds you of Alonzo Highsmith. Remember, he was a defensive end in high school.
Right.
And then he played fullback for the Canes, and he was a unstoppable force.
They had outside the lines, or outside the line. Is it outside the lines or outside the line? That Bob Lee show?
Lines.
With S?
Mm-hmm.
Outside the lines. They had a thing on Saban today, and those down here in South Florida, we hate Nick Saban, and one of the reasons why, because what he did to the Dolphins. But did anybody catch it outside the lines with Nick Saban?
I didn't know that show was still on.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the racing form.
Paul Feinbaum was he was the one that did the interview, and he's the one who did the whole thing, and he had Nick Saban. He was following Nick Saban around with his camps, the camp for kids, and I never knew like Nick Saban helped out Muhammad. He was when Nick Saban was coaching at Michigan State. There was a wide receiver, Muhammad. I forgot his first name. He has a Muslim name. Starts with an M also.
Nazir?
I think it is. And he played 14 years in the NFL. And he was a kid that got caught with a gun, some other things that he did. And Saban gave him a second chance. And look what happened to him. He got drafted. He played in Michigan State. He was a great player. Played in the NFL for 14 years. And now he has his own business. And they asked him the question, like, what name – how would you describe Nick Saban? He said soft, and the reason why he said soft because Nick Saban has, people think that Nick Saban is a jerk. You can see him. He went crazy yesterday, and during the game, he was screaming at the offensive line. He was screaming at somebody, and I was impressed. I'm like, oh wow, there's a soft side to Nick Saban, and nobody knew about this. I don't know if you guys knew about that. Saban having a soft side to him.
You can't believe everything the media tries to get you to believe.
Yeah, but. And then he helped out. Who's the kid that was in trouble last year? He was an offensive lineman, and they ended up kicking him. They asked him the question, "Why did you give him a second chance?" And he said this and this and that, and he ended up kicking him out of the team. Big offensive lineman, I forgot his name. So I think and Troy, you said Alabama was one of those teams to look out for. You had them in your Final Four, right?
They're in the Final Four for sure. Four. National title contender.
Wow!
For them to win it, the quarterback has to improve greatly.
Yep. Between
now and the end of the season.
I sort of agree. What I saw yesterday. I didn't see the whole game. I saw the second half. Auburn beats Louisville 31-24, Troy. This is a game. I think didn't you say you like Louisville with the points?
Yeah, Louisville with points.
Yeah.
Louisville's got a freshman quarterback that's dynamite. I think he's from Boynton Beach. Dynamite. Auburn was in control of that game early, and Louisville just kind of made a comeback. Auburn looks pretty good too. Those are both two good teams. It's a good game, but Auburn had that game in hand most of the game there. Louisville's just a little bit young, but they're good, and young teams get better as the year goes on, a little bit more than those veteran teams I think do. So I think Louisville's going to be better week 10 than they are right now week 1. Without any question.
The Georgia Bulldogs, they beat UN Monroe 51-14, 9th-ranked Georgia.
Yeah, Louisiana Monroe there. Georgia looks good, but, the team they played stinks.
Yeah.
They're not Bethune-Cookman bad, but they're not very good. So you can't really tell too much week 1 when you play a team like that.
Right. Oklahoma 41-3 over Akron.
Yeah, same kind of thing. I mean, Oklahoma looked good, but they weren't playing anybody. So we'll find out what's going on with Oklahoma. They travel to Tennessee the next week. So
How about your opinion on both of you guys? Give me your opinion on how Golson played for Florida State. They end up winning the game 59-16 over Texas State.
Very good, very comfortable. He looked comfortable out there.
Experienced player, yeah.
Yeah, given, playing Texas State. So that's like playing the high school team.
Solid. Everett Golson.
Yeah, he looked good. I mean, reminded me of when he was at Notre Dame. So I think he's going to keep Florida State in it. Whether or not they're a Final Four team, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But he looked like the old Everett Golson.
Troy, did you get to catch the Baylor game on Friday?
Oh, yeah.
56-21 over SMU.
Yep. SMU stayed with them the first quarter and a half, and then, Baylor's second half just blew them out. But Baylor's defense is once again the worry, but they're missing a couple players on suspension.
And I know you definitely saw the Michigan State game versus Western Michigan. 37-24 Michigan State wins.
Right. Western Michigan covered in that one. But Michigan State looked pretty good because I really think a lot of Western Michigan this year. I think they're a 9-10 win team. I think they lose. Michigan State and Ohio State beat them, and after that, maybe they lose one more game. That's it. I think they're a 9-win team. They're very good, and you could see they didn't quit because Michigan State got up on them, and they kept plugging away and fighting all the way in the fourth quarter. A lot of teams will quit. They have one of the good up-and-coming coaches, a 34-year-old coach, P.J. Fleck.
You said this game shouldn't have been this close, 23-17, TCU, Minnesota.
Oh, my God, I like TCU in that game, even though I started finding out a bunch of stuff prior to kickoff that I didn't like hearing.
Yeah.
Tennessee kind of just played not to lose, and that's what Gary Patterson said after the game. He was on the college football game day the next day and said a lot of people lose that first game by trying to win it and just scoring a bunch of points, and we just wanted to escape there with a, if 1 point win is fine. And I'm hearing all this stuff. He did an interview before the game, said he was sitting a couple of guys on defense, and we'll take a 1 point win. And I'm like, oh my God, maybe I don't like that pick quite so much anymore. But I like Minnesota to be a good team this year. Solid team, no superstars or anything. But, I misfired on that pick. TCU didn't score as many points as I thought they would. I think the quarterback scared me a little bit. Trayvon Boykin was running a little option in the first half, took a hit on the knee, and I think they kind of eased up on him in a lot of running situations. I think it probably scared the crap out of the coaches. I was kind of scared at that point for my money, but
yeah. Pallet, Larry Coca, Texas San Antonio loses against Arizona 42-32.
And for the record, Pallet picked that. He liked Minnesota.
Did he?
Yeah.
He took the points last week.
Are you serious?
Probably my only winner all season. But
Professional handicapper Johnny Pallet.
Texas San Antonio, I think they won 7 or 8 games last year. So.
Yeah.
And they were competitive in most of their games. So I think Coker's done a nice job there. I mean, he started the program from scratch, and seems like they're going to be a 7, 8, 9 win team. I'm not sure what conference they're in. I'm trying to find them.
They're in the same conference with FIU, right? Conference USA?
Let's see.
Yeah.
Here.
I think so. Didn't they play?
FIU's in the Sun Belt.
No. They're in this Conference USA. The Sun Belt doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, you're right. Your Etch is right. Yeah. They are in the Conference USA.
I got to go on an FIU game this year, guys. I got my FIU hat, and I have a T-shirt, FIU, because my wife went to FIU. She's an alum. She said, I'm going to take her to her first football game.
The Sun Belt exists. Georgia Southern's in it.
Oh, okay. Still exists. So, but you're right. FIU was in that conference, and they left. They left, right. The LSU game was canceled due to bad weather. And my team, Troy, that I predicted to win the national championship, the Trojans, 55-6 over Arkansas State. I wanted to stay up. I was so tired from the game. I couldn't stay up to watch the game. I just saw like a couple minutes. Started at 11 o'clock here on the East Coast. They won 55-6. You catch any of that game?
Yeah.
How they look?
Real good against Arkansas State.
Yeah.
Just remains to be seen if the defense is going to be able to stop the rest of those Pac-12 offenses. But they look good. Same thing as Oklahoma playing against Akron, and that kind of, except Arkansas State's even worse.
Eastern Washington, 61-42.
That game was an interesting game because Oregon's quarterback played at Eastern Washington last year. He's a transfer, and now he starts for Oregon. Oregon couldn't stop him. Couldn't stop Eastern Washington. I mean, they put up a heck of a lot of points on him. That's got to be concerning for Oregon, but that kind of has been their MO over the years. The years where everyone said, I think they're going to be a national title contender, have been the years the defense has been able to stop people at least a little bit. But if you're giving up that amount of points to Eastern Washington, that's not a good sign for Oregon at all. And I'm even more sure now. I don't think they come out of the Pac-12 and they're not a Final Four team.
Missouri ranked 24 in the country over Southeastern Missouri State, 34-3.
Once again, it's a garbage team. It's a garbage game. You can't really tell much from it. You're glad your defense didn't give up a lot of points. That's about it.
Tennessee ranked 25, 59-30 over Bowling Green.
That was an interesting game, I thought, because Bowling Green's no pushover. They run a Baylor-type offense. They spread you out, and they throw it around. And they were right there with Tennessee for the whole first half. It took Tennessee the second half to finally pull away in that. I think they just kind of tired out. Western Michigan doesn't have the depth defensively to withstand a lot of stuff Tennessee was bringing at them, bringing in waves of guys. And
Bowling Green.
Yeah, Tennessee they just wore them down in the second half. But that game was tight the whole first half. Bowling Green's probably going to be a pretty decent team this year.
Well, Bowling Green, you got them. We'll get to that later. They're one of the teams.
I like them this week.
Yeah. Let's see here. That's UCLA Bruins, 34-16 over Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia stinks. I think we'll start with that.
I think Ballard has Virginia beating the Kings this year. Did you say that? I think that was one of the games. Did you say that, Ballard? Or
No, I don't think Virginia.
No, I think he took North Carolina to beat him.
Okay.
Yeah, I did take North Carolina.
Wow. So,
Yeah, Josh Rosen had 309 yards in his
true freshman.
first game.
True freshman. He was rated the number 2 quarterback in America.
351 yards, I'm sorry.
wow.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's still an ACC team. They lost a lot of guys. That's the problem at Virginia. They were a veteran team last year. This year, I just think they're going to really struggle across the board.
How about the Razorbacks, Troy? 18th ranked in the country, 48-13 over UTEP.
That's a game that I watched a lot more of than I planned on.
Right.
It just happened to be on a TV, that one of the 300 TVs Duffy has, and it was right next to the game I was watching. Quarterback was throwing. He would throw darts, and then he's throwing touchdowns, and I've not used to seeing that out of Arkansas. I think the last good quarterback came out of there was Ryan Mallett, right? And this guy, he was impressive. I know they were going to have a running game. I know they're going to have a good offensive line. You always worry about, can the quarterback throw when a team throws 8 or 9 in the box? This guy can throw. So, man, that's scary. I think they're a contender in the SEC for sure.
And this team here, we all agreed that should win the ACC. Clemson, ranked 12th in the country. They beat Wofford 49-10, excuse me.
Yeah, Wofford stinks. It's an in-state school. Deshaun Watson's, he's the real deal. I'm not sure he's even 100% from his injury from last year, and he's the real deal. He may win the Heisman Trophy.
How's the guy that ran into the goalpost in Clemson?
Said he's got a broken bone in his
No,
neck.
are you serious?
Yeah, but they said it's a small one.
Oh, wow.
Either way, he's not in good shape. That was the only injury they said they really had was him, but that was kind of scary when you saw it.
Ole Miss, 17th ranked in the country over Tennessee Martin, 76-3. Jesus.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you can take away from that game other than that Ole Miss was pissed off that they got smoked by TCU last year in the bowl game, 42-3. Yeah. So I think that's kind of a carryover, and they took it out on Tennessee Martin. Not sure how much that's going to help them the rest of the year.
How about this game here, Troy? Close game. Boise State and Washington, 16-13.
That was an interesting game because Boise State's coach from last year is now the head coach at Washington.
Yeah.
And he was returning home to Boise State. And Boise State dominated the stat sheet, but the game was still close, and it took Washington missing a field goal at the end of the game for Boise State to win. So his old assistant coach beat him, but Washington's kind of rebuilding. They had a lot of NFL guys last year, too. Maybe the best cornerback that's going. I think the Chiefs might have drafted him, Peters. Supposedly he's been dynamite in practice with the Chiefs. So, but they're rebuilding. They stayed in the game. I don't know how because they got destroyed on the stat sheet.
The Yellow Jackets, they win 69-6.
I think
Alcorn State on Thursday.
Set a school record, I think, in the first quarter. I think they put up 34 points in the first quarter.
This is Pallett's team, Georgia Tech. He was going crazy.
Loves them.
That's my sleeper.
That's your sleeper.
Final Four team, you said.
He
Final
said
Four.
he did say that. Final Four team.
Man, their defense is good. They're the real deal. They didn't show anything otherwise.
All right, so we talked about the Ohio State game tomorrow. It's an 8 o'clock game. Ohio State, Virginia Tech. Troy says take the points, right, Troy? 14?
I think it's a lot of points. Obviously, you would take Ohio State to win the game, but I have too much respect for that coaching staff. That Urban Meyer, I think we pretty much consider he's a top 3 coach in college.
Right.
He got his ass out coached last year when Virginia Tech played him.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for that coaching staff there, that stadium and where they play. I hate Virginia Tech, but I think they're going to cover.
Pal, give me an update on the baseball game, and I'll give you guys an update on the tennis. Djokovic is down in the second set, 5-4 against Bautista from Spain. Djokovic did win the first set, 6-3. He's down 5-4 in the second set, ESPN 2. Pal, you got an update on the baseball game, Pirates and the Cardinals, or Troy, whoever you get to it first. I got an echo going here.
Nothing. The Pirates and the Cardinals. Nothing in the after 3 innings.
All right, we come back. We're going to switch gears. We're going to talk some NFL. We're going to talk Dolphins. We're going to talk about how the roster got trimmed down to 53 players, major cuts. Unbelievable. Was it the first time in a long time where they cut the kicker and the punter? The Dolphins did that? That's going to cost them a game, right?
Oh, for sure.
At least one game, maybe?
Maybe 2.
2 games?
Maybe
Oh,
2.
my God.
Maybe 2. But I can't wait to see what Philbin says after the Andrew Franks blows a game, and he'll make some excuse for him, I'm sure.
Who do you think made those decisions? Do you think it was Philbin?
Well, no, it was Tannenbaum.
I agree.
I'm sure Philbin will.
Philbin wants the veterans, obviously, right?
Oh, for sure. So, but I guess they're having to take salary dumps because of Sue.
Yep.
All right, 2845 Crowway. We're at Jada Coles Bar. Ladies' night tonight. Also, the trivia game starts at 9 o'clock with Lacey Brooks. All right, keep it locked right here. The John Ech Show with Troy Hall and Johnny Pallett. We'll be right back. All right, we're back at John Ech Show, live and direct from Jada Coles Bar, 2845 Coral Way. Ladies' night tonight, guys. So come down and visit us while we're doing our live show here, and also watch the game, Pirates and Cardinals. We're live on YouTube. We're also live on Periscope. Is that correct? Good. And we're back live on the website. So you could go on TuneIn in your app and search 24/7 Miami. You'll catch John Ech, Troy Hall, and Johnny Pallett. And also on Facebook, you can catch the show, the John Ech Show, and also on Twitter, John Ech Show, and also on Instagram, the John Ech Show. All right, let's talk some NFL, boys. Especially the Dolphins, because last week we sort of covered a little, me and Troy, because Mr. Pallett had to leave, but we covered, I want to say, all of what the Dolphins are, what they are. I guess, we covered, 75% of the things they wanted to talk about. But Johnny Pallett, let's get to you first. Some of the major cuts that the Dolphins did. They had to trim the roster down to 53 players. I was very upset. Me and Troy were very upset with the cutting of Mike Hall, who looked very impressive, and maybe Stillman saw something that we didn't see, Troy.
He's on the practice squad. I saw him that they did keep him there, and he's happy about it. So you can almost bank on Cole Messi getting hurt. So he'll probably come up. He'll probably be up there in a week or two on the main squad.
All right, Pal, give us a rundown of what's going on with the roster of the Dolphins.
Well, and at linebacker, they kept Spencer Paysinger, Zach Vigil out of Utah State, and Neville Hewitt of Marshall. And Hewitt was unexpected to make the roster, but he outperformed Jordan Tripp, who was a draft pick last year. And I was surprised the Dolphins gave up on him on the only his second season. But I guess if you get beat out, not much you can do. O-line, let's see here. They cut Sam Brenner. And they...
Who's the backup center, right? Sam Brenner?
Well, he was expected to be the backup center, but after they released J.D. Walton, but they had decided to keep Jacques McClendon, who played for Jacksonville last season. So it looks like... I don't know who Pouncey's backup's going to be, but I don't know if they're looking for somebody cut from another team. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. They're keeping only 2 tight ends, which I think is
kind of dangerous.
A little bit dangerous. You've got Jordan Cameron, and of course Deion Sims. But
What were the biggest surprises? Did you catch anything? Like, what was one of your biggest surprises that Dolphins did?
Well, as far as those tight ends go, I did see that they signed 2 to the practice squad, 2 tight ends. So, but they did only keep 2 tight ends on the roster. Like I said, I was surprised a little bit with Mike Hall and Jordan Tripp. I think Jordan Tripp, I was more surprised than Mike Hall. I can only imagine because he's been injury riddled, for 2 years.
Yeah.
Going on, this is his second year, but he got hurt again this year, so maybe they're just not as confident.
I was a little surprised they got rid of Gillislee. I mean, he had 69 yards in that last preseason game, and but I guess
They weren't going to cut Ajayi, right?
yeah, they couldn't cut Ajayi, a 5th-round pick, and I think Damian Williams has looked very good. So undrafted out of Oklahoma, and he can catch the ball, and I think he looks very good. I mean, Mike James, I thought he would do more in the with punt returns. I guess they haven't given up on him, but he just doesn't look like he really. Maybe there's no blocking, but just doesn't seem like he really does much back there. And even running back, he's got the speed, but maybe he just doesn't break tackles. But I guess they saw enough to keep him, and I would have thought Gillislee they would find somewhere to play him, but maybe he can't play special teams.
Is it safe to say, guys, that the Dolphins cannot afford to have major? Well, any team obviously can't afford to have major injuries. But for example, how bad would it be if Cameron Wake went down for the rest? If we lose him.
Well, I think they have enough. I mean, that would definitely hurt, but I think they have enough. They're keeping 9 defensive linemen on the squad, so I think that would be a one position that probably wouldn't hurt them. I would say too much.
I think, in my opinion, and I want to hear your guys' opinion. I think if we lose Lamar Miller, that's a huge loss. If we lose him
I don't think you can risk an injury at corner. If Brent Grimes gets hurt, I think you're in a lot of trouble.
Yep.
If Tannehill gets hurt, obviously, we're in a lot of trouble.
we're real big trouble.
I think you're in a lot of trouble if you lose a Juwan James on the offensive line, that kind of thing. I think anyone on the defensive line is replaceable except Sue.
Okay. Yep.
If you lose Sue, then you're in real trouble.
Just Philbin should go look for a cabin up in Wisconsin. He's done if Sue gets hurt. So linebackers, interchangeable. I don't think any of them are that great anyways.
Yeah.
They're relying on that. The D-line is everything for the whole defense.
Yeah.
That's everything. So.
Yeah, I'd say the O-line, I think, is really fragile.
Yeah.
So I think you have no margin for error there, and
Can't lose Pouncey, right?
yeah, you can't lose Pouncey, and
Receiver wise, I
I'd
think
say
they're
even
pretty stacked with the
I'd say
receivers.
Juwan James, you can't lose him.
You just said that, yeah.
Yeah, so receiver, I think we're in good shape.
Yep.
But I think O-line. I would say O-line for me is huge. No cornerbacks too, but I'd say the O-line. If they lose a player or two on that invariably happens every year.
Yeah.
You don't know when Brendan Albert's coming back, if he's going to be ready for week 1. And
What do you guys think? Troy, you think Albert comes back, or do they save him for? ESPN reported saying something that he won't be ready until week 3.
He's unfit. That's the problem. He's saying his knee's all right, but he's unfit.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. Honestly, I don't know. He looks slow.
I think that's where it gets back to why wouldn't they go after Evan Mathis? And I think again they're so being sort of cost conscious with going with the rookie kickers, and maybe Sue has blown up their whole salary cap, but I think that might come back to haunt them week 9, week 10 is why didn't they go with Evan Mathis? I think that was a gaffe by the whoever Tannenbaum or whoever's calling the shots, probably Tannenbaum. But I think that was a big mistake.
Yeah, maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he wouldn't have. I know he wanted to go to a contender. Maybe he didn't consider Miami a contender, but I'd rather cut Cole Misi, save the money, and get Evan Mathis.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. You pay Evan Mathis $6 million, he's going to come here. So overpay for him, but
Yep.
you've gotta have somebody experienced at guard, and I don't think Billy Turner's progressed like they wanted, and now you're relying on Dallas Thomas, which is a scary thought. So
Philbin thinks he's doing great. Like he's
Yeah,
progressed.
Jamel Douglas too might have to start.
yeah.
I thought Turner was going to be more reliable than Dallas Thomas. Now it's looking like Thomas and this rookie are more reliable than Turner.
Yeah.
Turner's a schlep. I thought it was going to be good.
You know, I was reading something in the Herald today. I don't know if it was Barry Jackson, one of these writers, saying that Devontae Parker, during the draft, a lot of guys were saying that he was a lot of, the guys that do like the Mel Kiper and those guys, they like Devontae Parker more than they like Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I think there were 3 wideouts at the top of the draft that were tier 1.
Yeah.
And everybody had a different opinion on them all. I like Amari Cooper the best, but
Yeah, I think he's going to have a monster year.
He's on my fantasy squad.
He's going to have a
Makes it
monster
Troy
year
Hall.
with the Raiders. They're going to do. I bet they throw the ball 15 times a game.
Oh, I hope so. Just throw it to him, right? He'll
Yeah.
catch it.
Just get him the ball.
he is. I mean, reports out of camp, when you have veteran guys coming and saying that by having him, he increases the level of our practices just by having him on the field. You don't hear that when you don't hear rookies talked about that way very often.
All right. Anything else we need to look at, Pallet, with the Dolphins here? Any other surprising cuts that you see? Not much.
No, I think we covered most areas.
We already know around the league, Tebow got cut. Who else? Name the guys. Who else got? Beg your pardon? Reggie Wayne got cut.
Hakeem Nicks,
Reggie Wayne. Wow.
Matt Flynn.
Matt Flynn. There was another big one, a big name. Who was it? Castle.
Castle
Matt
from the
Castle.
Bills.
Yeah. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Monty Ball from Denver.
Really?
Cut.
All right, Salguero came out with his grading the Dolphins real quick. And we all know who Salguero is. He's the beat writer for the Miami Dolphins for the Miami Herald. Quarterback gives him a B. Opinions? A B for Tannehill?
B for what?
Well, he says
His preseason performance or what? What he expects for this year?
Yeah, he
or
expects for the year, I guess.
He expects Tannehill to be a B.
Kind of Ryan Tannehill seems primed for a pretty good season.
He's a C plus.
The issue is the offensive line still a question, and Tannehill does not gain cohesion with his new set of receivers. He has a bunch of new receivers. Receivers and tight ends, B. Running backs, B minus. The offensive line, he gives it a C plus.
That's a D.
Well, that's probably. I would say probably. Well, D plus might be accurate. I mean, I think a lot of question marks and I really couldn't tell much in the preseason. Tannehill, I mean, I don't see anything deep. So, I mean, I don't understand why I don't even try. So to me in the preseason, just like last year, just too much dink and dunk. And I don't think you can beat the best teams going that route. So I need to see more. And so, I mean, I think B rating, I mean, he was 80% in the preseason, but I think he still locks on to one receiver way too much, and you're not going to beat the best teams with that
D-line.
approach.
Defensive line got an A. Linebacker C. I think the linebackers, I have no idea. There's a big question mark with the linebackers. Jelani Jenkins.
Well, I think
Chris McCain.
I think Jenkins is your best consistent performer, at least from last year. I mean, I like McCain, but they say he's inconsistent. So I mean, Vigil. I mean, I thought he looked great, but are they gonna? I'd rather see Vigil than Koamisi. I mean, I don't know. I don't
Does
know.
anybody hate Comey?
There's only one person who likes Koamisi, and that's Philbin.
Yeah, that's crazy. And what are they paying? They're paying him $5 million a year.
They could have saved. There was something fishy with his contract where they wouldn't have saved the total $5. They would have saved some though. I think if you save one, it's worth it to cut him. That's just me. I mean, he's only going to play 3 games probably the whole year.
All right, I'm sorry. What were you saying, Troy?
No, he'll be hurt. He just gets hurt all the time.
All right, the secondary B-, and the special teams. I don't know if you wrote this before. They cut the kicker and the punter. He gave him a C, but
well, all those grades to me just sounds like around the same old 8 and 8, maybe 9 and 7. So
Yeah.
I don't see how they can win 10 games.
I think the defense is that good, John.
Well,
I think that's why.
Yeah, okay. What does Salguero give us a win prediction on the record this year?
yeah, he does. Let's see here. He has the Dolphins obviously beating the Redskins week 1. Then he has them winning against the Jaguars week 2. The Bills, he has the Bills winning against the Dolphins. Give me a number here. It's not even Salguero. This is Beasley. We'll get to him later. It's too much here. But predictions before we move on to Troy Hall's picks. We have about 15 minutes left in the segment.
I would say even with the tremendous defense, I see 9 and 7.
Defense wins championships, Johnny.
They're gonna, just like we're complaining about, they were not throwing deep. They're not gonna ask Tannehill to win games. They're gonna ask him to be a game manager, and so I think they're gonna go 10 and 6 because the defense is that good. And I think we're still gonna be sitting here next offseason saying, is Tannehill worth that contract? And most of us are gonna say no. He still can't hit the long ball. He's still throwing inside the 15-yard.
But they don't want him to throw a long ball, Troy.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to ask him to be a game manager, and they're going to try and rely on the defense to get there. They're going to try and do what the Baltimore Ravens did when they had that great defense,
Right.
or when who was the other guy for Seattle?
Hasselbeck. Yeah, you're right.
Gosh. Him and the other bald guy that's on ESPN.
Yeah.
Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to ask that guy. They're going to ask him to do that kind of thing and
you can win that way.
try and protect them. Yeah, but those guys were a bit better at linebacker and corner and safety.
You had a great Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
With Baltimore.
I mean, you have the defensive line for it, but the rest of those aren't there. Like you're not in the same breath. So,
all right, here we go. You catch Troy on Twitter at SportsHeadsPicks. And that's with an X at the end. SportsHeadsPicks. You can follow Troy on Twitter there. SportsHeadsPicks with an X. All right, last week you were 3-3, and let me run down the games real quick before we get to your picks. UNC +2 versus South Carolina. That was a loss. TCU -14.5 versus Minnesota. That was also a loss. Utah -5.5 versus Michigan was a win. Texas was getting 9.5 versus Notre Dame. That was a loss. Alabama laying 10 versus Wisconsin was a big winner. And then you had the under in the Notre Dame-Texas game, and that did go under, and that was a win. So that's 3-3, Troy. Not bad. 500. And we got 5 picks for you guys for this week. And Troy's doing this. You amaze me because you're doing this on a Sunday. You're not even doing this like midweek. You know how usually people sometimes do. They wait a little bit to see if – but you're doing your picks on the next day after we had football. So I applaud you. Round of applause for Troy. All right, number 1. First game, Tulane at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is laying 29 points.
yeah, Tulane, Man, I forget who Tulane played this week, but they were playing tight for the first half. But I did get a chance to see the game, and I just can't remember offhand. And then they got smoked in the second half. I think Georgia Tech is the type of team that just banks on cramming it down your throat, wearing you down. It's assignment football. It's unlike anything else. They've only got a week. They're going to Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech's going to blow them out, maybe by 50.
Jesus, 50.
50 points.
Georgia Tech laying 29.
Yep. I think Georgia Tech can beat them by 50 points, and they're going to wear down Tulane.
Okay. The second game, we got LSU at Mississippi State. LSU is favored on the road by 3.5.
LSU, as we know, didn't get to play their first game of the season, and I think that's going to hurt them. Yeah, there's no tape to watch on them for Mississippi State, but I think Mississippi State's going to have the attitude that, hey, we don't care about the tape. We know what you do all the time. It's the same kind of thing. There's a new quarterback at LSU. Harris, I think is his name. Brandon Harris. Anyway, Dak Prescott at home for Mississippi State is going to win that game, I think, by a touchdown.
All right,
over LSU.
So you like Mississippi State getting the 3.5?
Yep. I think they win the game outright.
Okay, the next game, the Tennessee Volunteers are at Oklahoma. Oklahoma favored by 1 point. Woo, should be a good game.
I think this game is at Tennessee. I think you got it backwards.
Okay, my mistake.
Well, it could be my mistake, but I'm just going by memory. I don't have anything written here.
Pallets.
I have a hard time believing that I would pick Tennessee at Oklahoma. I like Tennessee because they're at home, and I remember the game last year was at
Tennessee.
Oklahoma.
It's in Tennessee. My bad.
Because last year I had Oklahoma in this game, and they won. They beat them pretty good. Tennessee, I think, is going to spring the upset. It was a little nerve-wracking watching how many points they gave up to Bowling Green and letting them hang around in the first half, but they stayed the course and put up 59 points against them like they should have. And Oklahoma, a lot of people think they're going to win the Big 12, but they very well might. I just think Tennessee is ready for a major win. They haven't had a major win in years. Butch Jones has that team going in the right direction. They're young, but they're building a lot of depth, and I think they're going to spring the upset on Oklahoma.
All right, so Tennessee's getting that. You like Tennessee getting one?
Yeah,
at home
pick
versus Oklahoma. That was my bad. At home, Tennessee's at home.
Tennessee at home wins the game outright.
Okay. The fourth game, Bowling Green at Maryland. Maryland's favored by 8.5.
Yes, I think it is 8.5, isn't it?
That's what I got. Unless I made another mistake here.
Yeah, it is. Well, I like Maryland at this against Bowling Green. I think Bowling Green, played a good first half last week against Tennessee. I think they got beaten up in the second half. Maryland's style of play is going to be what gives them trouble. Maryland's a physical team. Etzel is, he's going to try and run the ball right down their throat. I don't think Bowling Green's going to be able to stop that. Not for 4 quarters. Bowling Green is going to spread them out and, try and throw the ball vertically on them. I think Maryland at home is going to be too much for them. Bowling Green maybe scores 15, 20 points. I think Maryland scores close to 50 on them. I think Maryland beats them convincingly, 20 points at least.
All right, Maryland laying to 8.5 at home versus Bowling Green. Troy likes Maryland. The last game, Buffalo at Penn State. Penn State, after losing against Temple last week, on yesterday, Penn State is favored by 19.5.
I like Penn State to totally destroy Buffalo at home this week after a humiliating loss. I think they go back to the drawing board. Christian Hackenberg will have a big game. Buffalo is not as veteran a team as Temple was. And being back at home where they're a little bit more comfortable, they have a lot to prove. And I think the Penn State's going to beat Buffalo maybe by 30 plus. 30-plus points. Buffalo's not very good.
All right, you like Penn State laying the 19.5 at home against Buffalo, and just the hometown guys listening. Miami at FAU. You liked Miami covering the 17?
I like Miami to cover. I think Ballot likes FAU.
I think
No, I like FAU for a half, but I think Miami will
Cover?
cover.
Miami will cover 17
Yeah.
at FAU.
Yeah, me too.
All right, there you go. Let me recap the picks, and then if you missed last week's show, I'll give you the college football total wins that Troy gave out last week. All right, this week's picks: Tulane at Georgia Tech. Troy likes Georgia Tech laying at 29 at home. LSU and Mississippi State. Troy likes Mississippi State getting a 3.5 at home. Oklahoma at Tennessee. Troy likes Tennessee getting 1 at home against Oklahoma. Bowling Green at Maryland. Troy likes Maryland laying the 8.5 at home. And then loves Penn State laying 19.5 at home against Buffalo. And then he likes also Miami covering for freebie there, laying the 17, covering 17 points. All right, real quick before we go to break, total wins last week. Troy gave these out, and you can follow Troy on Twitter at SportsHeadsPicks with an X. SportsHeadsPicks with an X. Western Michigan over 7.5. Georgia Tech over 7.5. Michigan under 7.5. Miami over 6.5. Syracuse under 4.5. Hey, Syracuse played pretty good
They played Rhode Island. Rhode Island's about as good as Booker T this year, and Booker T is not very good.
That's a good basketball game. Syracuse and Rhode Island? Well,
yeah,
back in the days.
It'd be better than the football. I mean, Rhode Island's really bad. I almost took Wake Forest. Syracuse quarterback's out for the year.
Oh.
Injured. Second series.
Are you serious?
Done for the year, yep.
So that's going way under them.
They have a true freshman quarterback they're playing now.
All right, Clemson 9 over and Arizona over 7.5. Again, catch Troy on Twitter at SportsHeadsPicks. This is the John Ech Show. We're live at Jada Coles Bar, 2845 Coral Way. We got Ladies' Night tonight, and also the trivia game is going to start, or already started at 9 o'clock here at Jada Coles Bar. The winner of the trivia game gets $30 off your bar tab. So come down, check us out here at Jada Coles Bar. When we come back, we'll talk baseball, and I'll give you an update on what's going on in the tennis. Well, I'll give it to you right now. Djokovic won the first set, lost the second set, and is losing the third set, Pallet. This could be an upset in the making at the U.S. Open.
Incredible.
In Flushing, Queens, the U.S. Open. All right, we'll talk a little bit of golf, too, when we come back. All right, keep it locked. John Ech Show, Troy Hall, and Johnny Pallet. All right, we're back. Last segment of the show. We're at Jada Coles, 2045 Coral Way. Happy hour every day from 4 to 8. Great place to hang out Monday at 8 o'clock. Poker night in the Biz Night, 50% off. Live music on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Open mic with Somatics, by Somatics on Wednesdays. On Fridays, we got a live DJ spinning indie rock. Saturday's karaoke night. And on Sunday, ladies' night. And you can catch the John Ech Show live every Sunday right here at Jada Coles Bar from 8 to 10. And also the trivia game at 9 o'clock with Lacey Brooks here at Jada Coles Bar. 2845 Coral Way. You can catch them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search Jada Coles Bar, 2845 Coral Way. All right, we got the NFL starting next week, and Pat's going to give us a rundown of the whole schedule, starting with Thursday's game. Johnny Pallett, the
all right, Thursday game, we got Pittsburgh at New England. That's the Thursday night game on NBC. Then we've got the Packers versus the Bears on the 13th, on Sunday the 13th. Kansas City at Houston. Cleveland at the Jets. These are all 1 o'clock. Indy at Buffalo. Your Miami Dolphins at the Redskins. Carolina at Jacksonville. Seattle travels to St. Louis. New Orleans at Arizona. Detroit at the San Diego Chargers. The Titans travel to Tampa Bay. Cincinnati travels to Oakland. That's a 4:25 game. Baltimore at Denver. The Giants play the Sunday night game against Dallas.
Oh, it's a good game.
The two Monday night games are Philly at Atlanta and Minnesota at the 49ers.
All right, round of applause for Johnny Pallett. Next time, give me some more enthusiasm, baby. Get excited. It's football, right, Troy? Troy's excited. He's on football mode, 100%.
Very excited for college football.
Very excited for college football. And NFL, too, right? Come on, NFL.
I like the NFL. I don't know how excited I am.
Your favorite team's not doing too.
My favorite team stinks, and they will probably for the next 10 years.
The Redskins. Jeez. Well,
Brutal.
Well, at least they didn't cut RG3, right?
That's why I have no sympathy for Dolphins fans whatsoever.
You hear that, Trey?
Redskins are worse.
You hear that, Pallett?
I heard that.
Unbelievable.
At least you guys could sniff a chance at the playoffs, like, week 14. Skins are done by week 8.
All right, we're in set number 3 in the U.S. Open. Djokovic did win the first set 6-3, lost the second set 6-4, and now is winning the third set 3-2, and that is on ESPN2. Pat, what do you got going in the baseball game? Pirates and Cardinals. Last time we checked, the Pirates are winning 1-0. Is that correct? Is it still?
That is correct.
All right. What inning are they in?
Let's see here.
What time is it? It's 9:30. Should be what, 5th inning? Somewhere around there.
Bottom of the 5th. Yeah, still 1-0 Pirates.
With so much football going on, I didn't catch any of the golf. I saw little bits and pieces, but Stenson is leading the Deutsche Bank Championship, part of the FedEx Cup Championship. He's at 13 under. Fowler is 12 under. Matt Jones is 11 under. You been watching any of the golf, Pallant?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it.
I know Troy's not watching.
Fowler could not hit the fairway with his driver.
Really?
He really hung in there.
He's going left or right? He's got the blocks, or
he's doing the Army golf.
Oh wow!
Left, right.
Really?
Yeah. So he hung in there though, and Sean O'Hare's in third with Matt Jones. I mean, hard to go against Stenson. I mean, the guy hits the ball. He's number one in ball striking on the tour. So if he gets any kind of putting, he's tough to beat. And he won the FedEx Cup last year, so he's got the formula. He knows the courses, and he's going to be tough to beat. Rory McIlroy, I don't know. He did make the cut, but way back, and
it does end tomorrow.
And of course, Jordan Spieth missed the cut 2 tournaments in a row.
Yeah.
So
I think he's burnt out. We were talking about that yesterday, weren't we?
Yeah, we did
Spieth's
talk about it a
burnt
little bit. So,
all It ends tomorrow because of Labor Day. Started round one was on Friday, so tomorrow will be the last day of that championship. Tomorrow we got some good tennis. We got Andy Murray's playing good tennis. He's going up against number 15 Anderson at a 9. This is a good one, guys. John Isner is an American versus Roger Federer. 9 o'clock tomorrow. U.S. Open tennis, and then on Tuesday, like I said earlier in the show, we got Serena versus Venus at 10 o'clock on Tuesday. U.S. tennis. What was the last time? What was the last time an American won the U.S. Open? Let's see if you guys know this one. Since we're talking trivia, they're having trivia over at the bar there.
Female or male?
Male, men. Last American men to win the U.S. Open.
Andre Agassi.
Good guess, but that's not correct.
Oh, boy.
Michael Chang.
That's another good guess, but incorrect.
Hmm.
Andy Roddick, 2003.
Wow.
I didn't think he ever won it.
Yeah, Andy Roddick. In the last 5 seasons, no U.S. men no U.S. men has advanced beyond the 4th round of the U.S. Open. Americans did have their run back in the days with Sampras, Agassi, Courier, Michael Chang. And this article came out in the paper, and that was pretty good article. How American tennis for men is declining. We get the best tennis player in the world, Djokovic, and he's from Serbia. He's Serbian, right? And then we had Nadal's from Spain, and then Federer's from where's Federer from? Switzerland. So, and the article says that the traditional U.S. style of playing tennis was like the Andy Roddick, the fast serve, but now these players are getting into they're getting better serving those big serves, and they're working on their defensive skills, and that's the reason why American tennis for men on the men's side is declining. Also, the return of tennis in the Olympics in 1988. After a 64-year absence. Also, what happened in Russia, the breakup of what happened in Russia that brought a lot of tennis players coming out of that side of the world, Croatia, Serbia, and Russia. So it's a pretty good article. And it's happening in golf too, John. Women, especially in the women's side of golf, no U.S. Girls, it's all, Oriental. You see that every time on the U.S. on the PGA Tour.
Yeah,
women.
the South Koreans have dominated women's golf now for it might be going on almost 10 years. So,
what's your opinion on that? What's going on there?
Well, I think there's probably just the discipline factor with the South Korean gals. It seems like they are just so disciplined and not afraid to work super hard at it, and obviously getting good coaching at an early age. So
more discipline, you said, right? The Orientals are more disciplined than American girls? I think
so. I think they're probably that Oriental upbringing, whatever it is, it just seems like they're content to be maybe, I guess you could say, one-dimensional, where maybe our kids are just have other outlets and maybe not quite as dedicated with their practicing golf. So there's quite a few these golf academies littered all over Florida. So I would think that the American girls are attending those. I should bring in. I got a schedule from one of the academies. I guess they as a marketing tool to get parents to send their kids to one of these academies, and it's amazing. I think school is maybe 7:30 to 11:30, and then the rest is all golf. So and then I think at night.
Is this the academy talking about in Bradenton?
Well, no. There's a whole bunch now. This one's called Bishop's Bishop's Gate, I think it's called.
What's the one in Bradenton called?
Well, that's the
IMG.
IMG.
Yeah,
have
they got
all
a good football
sports.
team.
Yeah, they have all sports. They were the
football team is
first.
ranked top in the country.
Yeah, the
They-
soccer youth national team's
They
strong there.
they were the first ones, but now in golf, I mean, I was a rules official at the Doral Junior last year, and it was amazing how many different golf academies there were where the kids actually lived there, and they're pretty much doing golf. Like I said, I mean, I think at night I saw maybe an hour and a half study hall. That's it. So they're really. I mean, hope they do make it in golf because with 3.5 hours of school and an hour and a half study hall, not much required on for schooling for those kids.
Any thoughts on what U.S. Girls in golf? The decline of women's golf here in America when we used to dominate. Tracy,
The world's catching up. That's pretty much what it is.
I think it's just a little bit of I don't know if laziness is the correct word I want to use. Here in America, kids are distracted with so many things. You know, you really have to be a dedicated person to succeed in the game of golf, right? You need to be very disciplined, and I think we just don't have the discipline down here. I could be wrong, but
Well, I think that's probably part of it, but I think again it's the I think you almost really have to just really do your sport. I think to really excel, and I think the Koreans seem to have that instilled at an early age that
yeah,
that you don't really have you
play
really,
golf or you die.
Yeah, that's so there's really going to be no other interests, no other activities but golf, and I think they're more comfortable with maybe that type of life than maybe the
You must chip
girls from
3,000
the
balls
US.
tonight.
right. Yep. On a Friday night, I want you chipping.
You can't go with the girlfriend tonight.
Right. No movie on a Friday night.
Exactly.
You're going to go to the driving range and chip 100 balls
Exactly.
or 1,000 balls.
Troy, me and Pal were talking about this yesterday. This year is a possibility that we might lose 3 coaches down here in South Florida. Philbin, Golden, but we already lost Jennings, so manager of the Marlins.
Right.
So, and Spoelstra, I think Spoelstra's job is pretty secure, right? I don't think Riley's going to fire one of his disciples. But what's your thoughts on that, man? We could lose 3 coaches this year after the season.
Well, baseball's meaningless. It doesn't matter. They're going to hire some other jackass, and they'll probably fire him too when they don't succeed, and then sell everybody they sign in the offseason. But, yeah, as far as football, it just happens to be put up or shut up year for both of them at the same time. Just the way it's worked out. They've both been biding their time. I mean, there's people who wanted both of them fired last year. It could happen. I don't think we're going to see. I think we'll see one of them fired and one of them not.
Who has more of a chance of being fired? I think Phil.
Golden,
Golden?
much more of a chance of being fired.
Isn't
For
Golden
sure.
signed to 2020? Pallet?
Doesn't matter.
I think it's still 2018.
Is it 18?
It doesn't matter.
Well, Golden, I think, pretty much has to win, I would say 9 games this year.
9 games.
Didn't you guys see the plane flying over with the banner?
Yeah.
Did you see it when you were there?
Last year or this year?
This game.
I didn't.
You didn't see it?
No way.
It was in. I read an article. I read an article. They were flying the banner.
No kidding.
It must have gotten struck by lightning.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Last night's game?
Yeah, that's what this article said.
Wow. We didn't see that. Pal.
We didn't
Maybe
see
when we were inside or.
They're only allowed to fly before the game, so maybe
Yep.
people
stuff in our face.
tailgating saw it, but we didn't see any on our journey to the stadium. We didn't see any low flying planes.
I had 20 hot dogs. Pallet had 5 burgers and a big Coke. And then we had popcorn. And then we went for dessert. We had the big waffle swirl We called it a night.
I don't even think that was real ice cream.
No, the food's pretty good, but the best food's at Mullins Park. The best food is at Mullins Park. All right, you said how many games does Phil? I mean, Golden needs to win how many games?
I think Golden's got to win 9 games to. It could be 8 if he wins Florida State. If he beats Florida State 8, but I think it's got to be to keep his job 9 wins.
Troy, Golden, how many games does he need to win in order to keep his job?
He needs to win 9, or he can win 8 if he beats Florida State, Clemson, or Georgia Tech.
That's sort of what Pallet says. How about Philbin? Pallet.
Philbin, I think Philbin's got to get to the playoffs or he's gone. So that
I agree with playoffs.
Troy says
Playoffs.
10 wins. He's got to get 10 wins this year.
Playoffs.
Or Steve Ross is going to give him the boot.
Steve Ross. And
I think with 3 games to go in each of the seasons, both the coaches' jobs are going to be on the line still. I think it's going to come down to the final 3 games of the year if they keep their job or if they don't.
Well,
I don't see either one of them, running the table and being dominant. I don't see either one having a really bad year either.
no excuses for Golden, right, Pallet? He's got the guys. He's
I mean, there's no more NCAAs. Severe sanctions. I mean, he still has some scholarship reductions, but I think he's got certainly enough talent, and I guess they went to the Dallas Cowboys to learn schemes or learn something. So I just don't see how he can make any more excuses. This is his 5th year, and he's got to win, and he's got to win some big games. He can't just win the games that they should win. They've got to win 1 or 2 big games.
Did you read the article that Beinfest wants to come back to baseball? Not to the Marlins.
Yeah, back to the Marlins. Yeah, that's. I don't know who would hire him. Maybe they'd hire him as a scout, but he was
in that article. He made a lot of tough decisions, man. He was forced to trade these players. And he said the one that hurt him the most was when he traded the Chinese. Was it Chu? And
he stopped Choi.
He started crying in his office, and then Beinfeld was crying too. Well, he's crying in baseball, Troy, right?
He had to make obviously with a minuscule payroll. He sort of had to
training away Miguel Cabrera.
He had to make do with no payroll, but they don't really mention in the article how bad his drafting was. Yeah. And I remember he I think it was Andrew Haney, and that was the first player that he actually saw in person that he had drafted in the first round. Before that, he'd never done it, which was incredulous to me. How can you draft players and especially your first round pick and not see him in person? And his drafts going way back to Jeremy Hermida, just were a disaster. And
he was supposed to be the hope of the.
And they had I think Barry Jackson's column saying that the Marlins minor league system is bereft of talent.
Well, Jorge Posada said that they have no minor league players at all. The minor league system is just horrible.
Yeah, so that's
nothing.
I don't see how Beinfest can expect to get not even. I don't know who would hire him as an assistant GM. I mean, his track record is terrible, and maybe.
But let's be fair to him. Wasn't he forced to make these moves? They weren't.
Well, he was forced to.
His drafting was horrible. We could give him that.
Sure, I mean, but he had to work with a minuscule payroll. But part of being a GM is what you do with your in the drafts, and his drafting record is. There was no mention really of it in the paper, or certainly not very many paragraphs about it. But very poor, and that's what's killed the Marlins. I mean, low payroll has killed them too, but when they have injuries, they've got no young talent to replace the injured veterans, and then they've got to sign guys off the street or real cast-offs who haven't done anything for any organization, and those are your fill-in guys, and and you're not going to win games with guys that can't play.
He also said that another tough decision he had to make was to get rid of Luis Castillo. And Luis Castillo is like the heart and soul of the Marlins.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a big payroll guy and losing his skills. So I didn't really think much of the article. I thought it was really BS and really giving Beinfest a pass when really.
Who wrote the article? Clark Spencer?
Clark Spencer. I mean, it was. I think it was really just to fill a column because it was really. I didn't think really told us anything that we didn't know, and it was good PR for Beinfest, but I don't think it really exposed the truth about his skills as a GM.
What's going on with the Mets, LC? I'm gonna give you the mic. I want to know your opinion on what's going on with Matt Harvey. We all know he's coming off Tommy John surgery, and Scott Boras, his agent, comes out saying that he's supposed to be limited in innings. I think he has, I want to say 17 innings left, and the Mets are saying he's got to pitch. You know, we're in first place. You know, and Harvey is saying, well, my agent's saying that I'm limited to, I think it was 170 innings. It was his limit. So he's getting close to his limit. So they got to have Harvey. Strasburg a couple years ago had the same type of clause or the same type of deal where he was limited on pitches and he didn't even get to pitch in the playoffs. Remember that 2 years ago when the National?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So same thing with Matt Harvey, Mr. LC producer.
Oh yeah, that's I don't know. I think they have to pitch. The Mets are still in a run. There's still nothing is secure yet. They have 3 games against the Nationals coming up now, and let's see how they do there. And they lost today to the Marlins. They lost a series to the Marlins. I'm not happy, and let's see how the season goes.
He's got to pitch, right, guys? He's got to pitch.
First said he's going to pitch today, from what I read.
He's going to pitch
2 hours before the show.
Nice.
He released through, I forget what it is, but he says I'm pitching in the postseason. It's 180 innings is his limit.
180.
He's at 166.
Wow.
He said he's going to pitch, even though obviously there's been a fight between his agent and the Mets.
Yeah.
So, but he says he's going to pitch.
Well, they got a good pitching rotation, even though the ground's not pitching well. I think he lost against the Marlins on Friday, and I think that's 3 losses in a row for him, or he might have gotten a no decision in one of those 3 starts, but not pitching well. But we'll see. After, like you said, I'll see after this series against the Nationals, a big series. How many games are Pallet? You looked that up real quick. How many games are the Mets up on the Nationals? I think it's might be 5. Is it 5?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. So we'll see what happens with the Mets. Djokovic 6-3 wins the first set, loses the second set, and now he wins the third set. And that's still on ESPN2. Djokovic and Bautista. And in baseball, what we got going in baseball? Give me a score here. The Pirates are up 1-0. End of the 6th inning in St. Louis. All right. Johnny Pallett, tell us where we could find you, where people could find you. You're a golf instructor. You've been teaching golf for many years.
JohnPallettGolfAcademy.com. I'm at the Mel Reese golf course.
What's the address to Mel Reese?
1825 Northwest 37th Avenue.
Tell Troy what they're doing over there. Taking.
We gotta get out there and play.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah. Well, they're taking out all the Bermuda grass around the green complexes and putting in paspalum, which they've had the last summer. They did the paspalum on the tees and the fairways, and I guess they wanted to make sure around the green complexes that they wanted to stick with paspalum. So now they're sodding the all the around the greens, and it's a tough surface to chip and pitch off of the
It's
club.
sticky.
It's really sticky, so you really got to catch the ball first, and then if it's tough if you grow it up, make it thicker around the greens. I mean, it's
The course is hard enough, man.
yeah.
The undulations on the freaking greens are crazy, man.
Yeah, get out there and play.
Yeah, let's do it.
Soon.
Can you get us out there?
Yeah, sure.
What's the best day?
Sure.
Take a day off. Man. We'll go out there.
I will. I got.
We'll play 72 holes. Can we play 72? Just keep on going.
Yeah, keep going.
Just keep on going.
That'll cost me $320 worth of beer if we play that many holes.
Keep going. Just keep going. All right. So JohnPallettGolf.com.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
GolfAcademy.com.
JohnPallettGolfAcademy.com.
Or Twitter, John Pallet at John Pallet 2.
John Pallet 2.
The number 2.
Number two. Yesterday at the game, I was yelling, "Put Testaverde's kid in! Put him in! Give him a shot! Put Testaverde's kid in!"
Everybody was looking around like, who is this guy? It's not Testaverde's father. Must be a great uncle or something.
Hey, what about the 2 injuries that happened to the wide receivers?
Barrios got hurt, and who's the other one?
Stacey Coley.
How bad are the injuries?
I don't know. That's important.
I couldn't find anything in the paper today, so maybe
One of them went to the hospital.
Maybe really. Well, Barrios.
Coley
went to the
I
hospital.
think he was one of them. Where they said they took him to the hospital for eval.
Wow.
Well, they haven't had any reports in the media yet. Maybe tomorrow they'll get a.
Yeah, you know how tight to Golden keeps things tight to the chest. Well, I think they'll be all right. That's what his comment was.
Yeah.
What does that mean? They'll be all right when? Week 10?
Right, exactly. They'll be out.
Well, Barrios, when he got hurt, he took his helmet out real quick, and he was in pain.
Yeah.
And they were
Maybe he was the
telling
one.
him to come. But he got up and walked to the sideline. So
Well, in the paper today, Golden said it was. Well, it wasn't season-ending. It looked like a season-ending injury the way he took his helmet off. So, but Golden said no, it's not season-ending, or he escaped the season-ending injury. So, I guess it could be 6 weeks or 3 weeks. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
all right, boys, good job, Troy Hall. You catch him on Twitter at SportsHeadsPicks. That's with an X at the end. Johnny Pallet at John Pallet 2, and you can catch the John Ech Show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search the John Ech Show. Thanks, LC, Louis Chacon. He runs 247Miami.tv. He's also the producer of this show. Good job there, bud. Boom. Go Mets. And again, we're here every Sunday from 8 to 10. Jada Coles Bar, 2845 Coral Way. Come down and visit one day and have a drink, watch the games with us. Especially starting next week, we got live NFL games. So it'll be a great time. My name is John Ech, and thanks for logging on and tuning in. Catch you guys next week. Happy Labor Day.